Hey YouTube, I'm Lucky, and today I'm bringing you the meta report. This is week 2 of Trials, and the goal of this video is to show you what the meta is currently in Trials of Osiris, so that way you can help decide what weapons you're going to use, what weapons your teams are going to use, what strategies you're going to use, so that way you can go flawless in Trials, not just this week, but every week hereafter. Alright, so let's look at the numbers here. We've got week 1 is up here, and then we've got week 2 over here on to the right. Now, these are screenshots that were taken at different times, but nothing changed throughout the week 1 meta of Trials of Osiris in the burnout from week 2. None of these top 10 spots were shifted. The numbers went up and the players and everything else went up. But we are at 24 hours inside Anomaly right now, and we can look and see the #1 most used weapon is Hardlight. It continues to be extremely dominant. More people within the community are getting news and word of it, of how strong it is. You're playing against it more often. And really, this weapon continues to be a top tier weapon for a variety of reasons. One, there's no damage drop off, which is absolutely insane. It can be used at pretty much scout rifle ranges because of that. Any range is good, and it has excellent time to kill because of the auto rifle buff. So it's like extremely versatile. It's a good all-around weapon, and it can be used at range, can help counter snipers because it flinches them so much. The Hardlight is, without a doubt, definitely the best primary weapon in the game currently after the recent adjustments that Bungie made, and buffs and nerfs to certain things. So Hardlight is definitely the strongest weapon, continues to be the strongest weapon, and not only that, a new shotgun has appeared. The Astral Horizon is now in the meta, and that is a kinetic Mindbender's Ambition shotgun. It's the same shotgun as Mindbender's Ambition, more or less. It has some even stronger perks than Mindbender's, but it has quick draw in the kinetic slot. It's the only high impact shotgun in the kinetic slot. So that, accompanied with Hardlight, makes the Hardlight meta already even more stronger, you know? Right before this, a lot of people were probably using Revoker and Hardlight, and there are probably a lot of people still using that. But now with Astral Horizon, and as long as more and more people, or as more and more people go and get God rolls of Astral Horizon, you're going to see it become even more prevalent in the Crucible meta. So Hardlight is the king of Crucible right now, and it looks like it's going to be that way for a while, or at least until we get a nerf to it. Let me know in the comments below what sort of nerfs or adjustments would you add to the Hardlight if you were going to add any. And do you think the Hardlight is OP? Do you think the Hardlight should be adjusted, or are you happy with the current Hardlight meta? Moving on to the next one, the Revoker was the #2 slot from week 1, and now we've got Mindbender's Ambition, which is really interesting. This is it's definitely surprised me, you know. As a lot of people are using the Hardlight, you would think that a lot of Revoker uses, a lot of Revoker kills would be there. It is the 3rd most used weapon currently, but Mindbender's Ambition is still there. And I imagine the primary that a lot of people are using with this, if you scroll down the list here, you can see Suro's Regime here has 1.2 million kills. I imagine a lot of people are rocking a Suro's and a Mindbender's Ambition. I myself really like this combination. I think it's super strong. I think that it counters the Hardlight well as well. If you're standing across a small hallway with a decent amount of range, like medium range, a Suro's versus a Hardlight, I would put my money on the Suro's winning. But if you're standing at long ranges, the Hardlight's definitely going to just absolutely melt the Suro's user. So it kind of depends on what your play style is, how you like to play, and how well you're working on this map. Suro's and Mindbender's Ambition is a really strong loadout, and as we can see here, Mindbender's Ambition and shotguns are extremely potent in the current Crucible meta. 3 million kills 24 hours into Anomaly. 3rd most used weapon is Revoker, and I'm sure most people are using Revoker and Hardlight. This double range loadout is really good, really optimal for team shooting. You can team shoot the Hardlight, you can get a pick with the Revoker, and then push up with the Hardlight, and the spam from the Hardlight is just insane. It ricochets off the walls, it does extra damage. It's really good at keeping bodies down. Can also be really frustrating depending on your perspective. The Dustrock Blues is the #4 weapon on the Anomaly this week so far, and of course I'm sure this, if you don't like using Revoker, if you're more of a shotgun type, using the Dustrock Blues is going to pair really well with the Hardlight. The Astral Horizon is just below that, and I imagine the Dustrock Blues next week, my prediction would be that the Dustrock Blues will be finito and gone, and this will be entirely replaced by the Astral Horizon, and the Dustrock Blues won't even be on the top 10, maybe way down at number 10 spot. But Astral Horizon is going to emerge, especially as more and more people get that God roll, that quick draw roll. And it is right now the #5 weapon already, so people are using it even before they even get God rolls, it looks like. I've seen a lot of people equip this as I've played Trials this weekend. I've seen a lot of people equip this, and their rolls are absolutely terrible, but they're just like, cool, new gun, I'm going to try it out. And so the #6 weapon, Suro's, we talked about that a little bit. Extremely strong, extremely good to counter against Hardlight. The #7 is Beloved, which is a super powerful sniper. This would pair really well with the Suro's as well. And so you could use Suro's to Beloved. The God roll Beloved, the snapshot quick draw roll, is still super strong, still super potent, and will honestly outsnipe a lot of people using Revoker, because Revoker doesn't have as good of perks as the Beloved. I personally, if I had to get into a sniper battle, I would choose the Beloved over the Revoker. The Revoker is nice because you keep getting more and more shots if you miss, so it's kind of like has an icebreaker effect to it. But if you're out there landing your shots, you know the predictable lanes, you know where to aim, and you're good at sniping, Beloved will definitely do you better than the Revoker in my opinion. The spare rations has fallen to the number 8 spot, which is absolutely crazy. It's crazy to see how far it's dropped. Over here, it's the number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the 6th spot, and now it's dropped down to the 8th spot this week in the second week of trials. And we'll see if this spare rations continues to dip even lower. I don't know. I imagine it might stay in the pretty close to the top 10 because it is such a strong weapon. I myself still go back and forth and use spare rations quite often. Hand cannon gameplay is really fun to use, especially if you're doing a lot of like mid-air gameplay, depending upon what subclass you play. I play Hunter, so I like jumping in the air a lot with spare rations, and I really like spare rations gameplay, and I find myself going back and forth between spare rations and Suros and Hardlight often throughout the weekend. So I'm surprised it's as low as it is, but, you know, it is a risk-reward type of weapon. If you can land 3 headshots, it's so lethal, so strong, but if you do miss a shot or 2 here and there, it definitely is a lot more punishing than an auto rifle, which, if you miss a couple bullets, it's not as big a deal. In fact, with the Suros, if you miss a couple bullets, it gets more powerful with time. So missing bullets really isn't even that big a deal. Like, it almost helps you because the weapon becomes more lethal the more the gun is fired. So spare rations has dropped a few spots. Thorn has remained in the number 9 spot, and we'll see how this goes with time. We'll see if Thorn can continue to stay in the top 10. And then the Summoner auto rifle is a new auto rifle that came out this week. Really powerful auto rifle, the same archetype as these other exotic ARs, and I really like it as well. I don't think it's going to stand up nearly to these ones because the Hardlight's insane perks and the Suro's insane perks, but we'll see. I think people are just excited that the Summoner is out, and so they're trying it out, and that's why we're seeing a lot of kills with it. But I could be wrong. Maybe there's some really strong rolls of it out there. Let me know if you've gotten a Summoner, what role you got, if you got a God roll. And one last thing that I want to mention with this is I want to point out the weapons that actually got pushed out of the top 10. If we scroll over here to the left, the Not Forgotten has been pushed out of the top 10, and the Jotun has been pushed out of the top 10, currently in the Crucible meta in Trials of Osiris, which is really interesting. Not Forgotten is now, in fact, forgotten, and the Jotun, the Toaster Gun, is no longer in the top 10. And we'll see what happens in future weeks and future iterations of Trials. And that's that. This is the meta report. Week 2 Trials of Osiris. Hopefully I'll get your flawless. I'll be live streaming twitch.tv lucky10p. Come by if you want to enter the Trials raffle. And I'm going to be playing using all these different weapons throughout the weekend. And I'll see you all in the next one. Thank you all so much for watching. Have a good night.